Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to Sweden once again, and this is a brewery who have become quite well known from over there. So we're going to go back to Sweden's premier beer city, if you like, Göteborg on the west coast, Gothenburg as you would say in English, and we're going to return to Bryggeri. And for this one we've got a beer that should be really quite interesting, because this is the one that's produced for the GBG Beer Week. So this is the GBG Beer Week 2018, and this one is called the Strawberry Sour Beer. So Bryggeri with this one. The last ones, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, it was Bibliotek who did the one last year. They had a session IPA, and then of course the year before that there was the one that really kind of propelled Stigbergets up to the kind of top of their game, the GBG Week 2016, which was that that lovely kind of New England style IPA. So we've got one that's a bit different this year. This one comes in at 5%, or if I remember correctly, it's a strawberry sour beer. Different approach from the IPAs, the kind of hazy IPAs that we've had in recent years. But you know, Bryggeri, in my experience, they've really made a kind of name for themselves when it comes to sour beers, and also imperial stouts as well. Probably the two best beers I've had from these guys have probably been the Big Idiot, which you saw me review a few videos ago, and also the Mango. That's one of the best sour beers I've ever actually reviewed on the channel. So hopefully this is one that can kind of live up to that a little bit. But yeah, this is the one that's produced for the GBG Beer Week, which is a really good beer festival. Hopefully I can make it up to the one in 2019, because I'll be returning to Sweden in August of this year, 2018. But yeah, it should be a really interesting beer, a brewery that's got a really good reputation, and it is quite cool how the festival do go around and ask all the different kind of Gothenburg breweries to produce these beers. So looking forward to this one, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on it then. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, of course, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Bryggeri before. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Bryggeri then. So as I've told you before, Bryggeri are based in Landvetter on the outskirts of Gothenburg, Göteborg as you would say in Swedish, and the brewery was established back in 2005, firstly in Mölndal by Mikael Engström Dugge, and their beers entered Systembolaget, the nationally owned beer stores, back in 2007. And of course, due to the kind of renaissance that you've had in Swedish craft brewing recently, these guys very quickly outgrew their original brewery. So they moved to Landvetter, which is a little bit, I'm sure it's kind of a little bit to the sort of southeast of Gothenburg if I'm remembering correctly. But the older brewery had an original capacity of 1500 hectolitres per year, and they actually still use their old brew kit for developing new beers if I'm remembering correctly. But they also have the new brewery now, and it's had a larger brew kit. The original capacity of that was 8000 hectolitres of beer per year, but I believe it has been upgraded further since then, because these guys are one of the Swedish breweries that are starting to export. I think I've seen some of their beers actually in Scotland as well, and I've heard some guys saying that over in America you can pick up some of these Dugge's beers as well. So if you are watching from abroad, do let me know where you've actually seen these beers. I know that they are exporting to some fairly kind of random places, so it would be cool to know where they are actually exporting to these days. But a number of the breweries in Gothenburg, of course, as I say, Gothenburg is Sweden's kind of premier craft beer city these days. A number of the breweries own a share in the Brewers Bar in the city, and Bryggeri are one of them, of course. I think Bibliotek are involved with that as well, and there's a few of the other ones there. I'm not sure if Bearded Rabbit and Stigbergets, of course, have their own cafes, the Hagebjörn's Cafe and stuff like that on Linnegatan. But I know that Bryggeri are one of the ones, I'm sure, involved in the Brewers Bar as well. So yeah, that's definitely a place that you want to go and check out as well. Gothenburg, really nice city, lots of good beer to be drunk, probably Sweden's best craft beer city these days, so it's definitely worth going to check out. And like I said, hopefully hopefully I can get up and check out GBG Beer Week in 2019. So yeah, that's all you need to know about the brewery for just now. Check out the brewery website, like I said, in the description below, and you can learn more. Follow them on Facebook and you will be kept up to date with all the different things going on. Dugas Bryggeri are doing a lot of kind of collaborations and stuff like that these days, and if I remember correctly, Dugas are the ones who are brewing a lot of the Omnipollo Imperial Stouts as well, which are obviously very, very good beers. So yeah, definitely check them out. So anyway, let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself. I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork on this one then. I always enjoy these kind of GBG things. They've all got a very distinctive style of artwork. Of course, you always get the blue, and they've put the red in it this year, I think, since it's a strawberry kind of sour beer. It says on the side here, when we got asked to do the official GBG Beer Week of 2018 beer, all we could think about was sour strawberries, sour and strawberries, a sour beer with strawberries. So that's what we did, got NO. So yeah, nicely presented this one. Starcool on the side, of course, 5% ABV. Plain bottle cap as you always get with the Dugas ones. It would actually be cool if they did a black bottle cap that just said Dugas. I'd say it would be nice if they did that. But this beer was in the small partiers. I believe it was on the 4th of April or the 6th of April of 2018 that this came into Systembolaget. So pick them up if you get the chance. I'm not sure how widely available they're still going to be. But without further ado then, let's get it out and we'll get on with the tasting. So yeah, nice smoky opening on this one, so let's get it out and into the glass. So yeah, as you can see, it's actually, it's actually quite a bit lighter in colour than I was expecting it would be. It's still, you could still look at that, if you didn't look at it quite as close as we are now, you could actually look at that from just a little bit away and still think it's an IPA or something like that. You would think from a strawberry beer, obviously when they add like berries and stuff to Berliner Weisses and all this kind of thing, usually it goes a little bit kind of reddish, but this one has stayed pretty gold. I mean, you can, to some degree, you can see that there is a little bit of a slightly reddish tinge to that, and there's a solid, I'd say there's about a finger's worth. It's fading away a little bit now, but there was a solid finger's worth of a frothy head in there, and I'd say it was a perfect white head. Definitely not cream, more of a perfect white head from this one. But yeah, it looks really quite nice. Definitely a nice kind of rich orangey colour, but you can see there is a sort of slightly reddish tinge to it. So one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and a few little ones heading up towards the bottom of that head there. But overall, it does look really, really nice, and yeah, you can smell some of that nice red fruitish quality coming off the top of this. So let's have a closer look at the aroma then and just see how we get on with this one. Yeah, so obviously there's strawberries in there, definitely. The strawberries are coming out of this straight away. I mean, you can obviously get the fact that this is a sour beer. There's that sort of slightly lemony, tart, kind of citric thing there. I'm not sure if they'll have used Lactobacillus or Brettanomyces in this one. It doesn't actually say on the bottle which ones they've used, does it? Oh, it's Lactobacillus, rather, that they've used in this one. And then there's Jordgubb, of course, as well, which is the Swedish word for strawberries. But yes, Lactobacillus in this one. So it does give you that nice kind of little bit of sharpness to it. There's a wee bit of a kind of slightly grassy hop in this one. You can smell underneath a little bit of the kind of white bready quality. There's maybe a little bit of a biscuity note there, to be honest, as well. There is a little kind of touch of sweetness from the malt base, but the way the strawberries are coming out in the aroma is really nice. It almost has a little bit of a slightly candied fruit note to it as well. It reminds me of those little heart-shaped sweets you get in the Haribo Star Mix. And I don't know if there's almost like a little bit of a kind of slightly red currant-ish aroma to it or something like that. There's definitely a little bit more complexity to the kind of reddish fruits that you're getting on this one than simply kind of candied fruit, if you like, and there's definitely a little bit more to it than the strawberries, although oddly enough they will only have added strawberry to it. It's just interesting though how you can get kind of unusual or kind of unexpected aromas, I guess I should say, sort of propagating from beers like that. But definitely nice little bit of that kind of citricy note from the Lactobacillus backing it up. But overall, it smells like a really, really nice beer. It looks like a nice beer, so let's see if it tastes like a nice beer then. So this is the GBG Beer Week 2018, a nice strawberry sour beer at 5% ABV from Dugas Bryggeri out at Landvetter, just outside of Gothenburg in Sweden. So hopefully I can make it up to the 2019 GBG Beer Week. Let's get stuck in. Slanja, skål! yeah. I have to admit, I do quite like that. You know, I'm not sure. I don't think it's supposed to be a Berliner Weiss, actually. Just from the flavour, I'm pretty sure it's just a kind of straight up sort of sour beer or something. It's definitely not a sour IPA, nowhere near hoppy enough. They just said it's a strawberry sour beer. Yeah. I mean, one of the things I'll say about this beer, if you go and look at the rating it has on Rate Beer, I'm sure it's only got like I'm sure it was something silly like a 57 in the style that it had, and I think it was like so it's 57 overall and 43 in terms of the style. This is one of the times when Rate Beer falls down. As I've said to you numerous times on the channel, take Rate Beer with a bit of a pinch of salt, because there can be beers like this that should be rated a lot higher than they are. You know, when it comes to sour beers in Sweden, Bryggeri are obviously the ones that do really well, and then you've got other breweries as well, like Örebro, who are picking up. You've got Tempelbräuhaus up in Uppsala as well, and then you've got Dugges Bryggeri, and I don't understand why this beer only has like a 57 or so on Rate Beer. They've got, what I would say about Dugges is, with their sour beers, they've definitely got a really kind of solid base that they play around with. I mean, when I taste this beer, you can taste that the kind of base of it a little bit is quite similar to the mango. It definitely, the way that they get the sort of bready qualities and things to come out of the beer is really, really similar, and I really like that. I just don't understand why this beer is rated so low, because it is actually really quite nice. I like it. And I mean, in fairness, strawberries aren't the most kind of common fruit that you can use in a sour beer, right enough. Not the most popular fruit. You know, the mango, that's probably one of the best beers that Dugges have produced, which is fair enough. The strawberries, as I say, it's not such a common fruit, but it really works. I really do not understand why Rate Beer has that beer rated so low. It's definitely better than it is. Is it the best sour beer that they've produced? I wouldn't say so. I mean, mango, as I say, really special beer. There are other ones out there that I've heard are really good from Dugges as well, but of course with the nationalised system in Sweden, unfortunately you're only going to get some of those in restaurants, so I can't review all of them for you. But I would say by no means is this the best beer that Dugges have produced, but it is pretty good, I would say, and it's definitely not worth the. It should definitely do better than the 57 or so that it had on Rate Beer when I was checking it out. But for me, I quite like that, and you know, sour beers, there's a lot of experimentation going on with it, and it is cool to see that they took a bit of a risk and do something else, because that's the two fortes that Dugges have. Like I say, it's probably the kind of fruity sour beers like this, or the imperial stouts. Those are the two beer styles that Dugges really shine at, and again, for me, it's another just really solid sour beer, this. So let's actually have a look at the flavour now though. So in the middle of your palate you can feel that nice sort of pale malt bready quality, that just blankets the middle of your tongue. As you progress further and further into the aftertaste, it kind of smooths out a little bit and just becomes that little bit more bready. The flavour just kind of lingers there. In the middle of the palate too, I reckon there's a wee bit of a kind of biscuity flavour coming out, almost like a kind of digestive biscuity flavour, definitely. The malt base is very, very simple, but again, from a sour beer, the focus really isn't on the malt, it's all about how these kind of lactobacillus or Brettanomyces flavours kind of progress. But the malt base on it is really simple and really nice. Like I said, it does remind me a little bit of the malt base that they had in the mango. On the sides of your palate, it's quite, the hoppy side of this beer is really quite grassy. If it was really kind of floral and bitter in some ways, that just wouldn't work for the strawberries. You can get away with that when it comes to like adding passion fruit and mangoes and stuff like that, but I think with the strawberries, the flavour for me with strawberries is always a little bit more delicate, if you like. I think, not really sure how to describe it, but I've always found the flavour of strawberries and some of the red fruits just a little bit more kind of delicate. It matches a lot better with the darker malts and things, obviously. But if you're doing a lighter sour beer like this, you have to make sure the hops are kind of grassy and not too sort of floral and spicy and things like that. And they've managed to pull that off quite well with this beer. The hoppy side of this beer is just a nice kind of smooth, grassy quality, and then round the very front curve of the tongue, it is just really quite nice and light, I would say. But yeah, the fruity qualities to this one for me are really nice. I mean, the sort of tart, citricy character from this one, it does come out a little bit, but the kind of juiciness that you get from the strawberries balances it out quite nicely. When you add fruit to the beer, as I always tell you, I always find that the kind of fruity flavours, they kind of go on the very edge of the tongue and they just sort of moisten the beer out a little bit. They take away a little bit of a bitterness from the hop. So maybe in a way that's what's covering up a little bit of the kind of floral aspects that you will get from some of the hops. But again, it works really well. And if you just go behind the front curve of the tongue and the palate, of course, that's where you get the little oily bubble where these nice kind of juicy, fruity esters come out. And that's where you're getting a little bit of this slightly kind of candied, fruity flavour. As I always say, these candied red fruit flavours, they really remind me of those little Haribo Star Mix sweets, the little heart-shaped things. And some of the gummy bears, of course, as well, the little red gummy bears. And maybe even the yellow one, not the yellow ones, the sort of clear ones, very slightly as well. You do get a little bit of that from this beer. So I mean, in terms of the flavour profile, this one isn't the most complex beer that you're going to come across, but I don't think it's intended to be like that. I think it's meant to be more sort of nice, easy drinking session beer. And if it's an official beer for a festival, you know, that's what they want. They're not wanting you to get smashed after like having just, you know, one or two of them. They want you to have something that you can just sit and enjoy and have a few things of going through the festival. So in terms of a festival beer, it works really well. To be honest, it's quite disappointing to think that this beer has been rated so lowly by some people on Rate Beer. I really don't understand that, because it's, you know, you have to think about the context of the beer that the beer's intended for as well, I think. So as a festival beer for me, this one's pretty nice, and it's another, as I say, Douglas are really good at sour beers, and these fruity sour beers, and you know, they've done another really solid one, and that's what you want for a festival. You can't really ask much more of Douglas than that. What I would say about this as well is, when you take it in at first, you do get a bit of sharpness from that lactobacillus that they've put in there, and then it just mellows out really nicely. You get that nice, slightly lemony, tartish sharpness at the start. The malt base starts to come in, and then the sort of strawberry flavours and the slightly candied fruits, they start to push their way out towards the end as well, which is really nice. The strawberry and stuff really starts to come out in the aftertaste of this beer. But again, overall, it's a really nice, easy drinking beer, and I have to say I like this one. In terms of the mouthfeel then, I would say it's at the bottom end of mid-bodied. It's sort of light, between light and mid-bodied, this one. Carbonation is quite smooth. It's got quite a wet mouthfeel, this one. I would say more than anything. There's a little bit of hoppy quality in there, but that's kind of pushed back by the juiciness of the fruits that they've added to the beer. Overall, there is a good bit of fruity juiciness to this. You've got a little bit of sharpness as well from the kind of tart, citricy characters from that lactobacillus, like I said, and the malt base is quite smooth. There's a little bit of sweetness to it. That comes out a little bit at the start, and then it also comes out in the aftertaste a wee bit as well, and it actually balances very well with a nice kind of juicy, fruity strawberry flavours as well. But like I say, overall for me, it's a really nice, solid kind of session beer, this, and that's what you want for the festival. It is disappointing to see that it's been rated as lowly as it has on Rate Beer, but that's one of the reasons why I always say take it with a pinch of salt. For me, that's a nice beer. Is it the best sour beer, fruit beer that Douglas have done? No, I wouldn't say that, but it's another really solid one. Strawberries, of course, aren't the most common fruit that you would use in sour beers. Of course, in Belgium, I've said that, they can actually be quite popular with the creeks and stuff like that, from what I remember. But overall, it's a nice beer, and it's another solid fruit beer from Douglas. For a festival beer, you certainly can't ask for much more, and it is cool to see something a little bit different from what you might have expected. They could have just gone for an IPA or something like that, or done a sour IPA, but they chose to do something completely different, so a thumbs up to Douglas for that. So yeah, another really nice beer from Douglas, and I'm glad that I got to try this one, and I hope you guys who went to GBG Week, Beer Week 2018 had a good time, and hopefully I can make it to 2019. But yeah, I think that's a good place to sign off. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comments section below. Let me know your own experiences from the GBG Beer Week 2018 as well, and do let me know what your favourite beers are from Dougas as well, and give me some recommendations of some of the other sour beers to try. So once again, thank you for watching. I'll catch you guys very soon. Make sure you check out my social media, and if you've enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing, and make sure you try some of these Dougas beers and let me know where exactly in the world you're able to find these as well, because as I say, they've been exporting quite a bit. So this was the GBG Beer Week 2018 Strawberry Sour Beer from Dougas Bryggeri from Landvetter, just outside Gothenburg in Sweden. And I'll catch you guys very soon. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Skål!